Good afternoon, folks. My name is Kurt Hickman, County Court Judge here in Hernando County. You folks are here for your first appearance. The purpose of the first appearance is so that you may be informed of the charges against you. I'll determine if probable cause exists for those charges. Probable cause simply means it's more likely than not that a crime has occurred. More likely than not, you're the person who committed that crime. Of course, as you stand before me this afternoon, I presume that you're innocent of these allegations. That presumption of innocence will stay with you through every stage of the proceedings unless and until the state attorney's office is able to prove the allegations against you beyond and to the exclusion of a reasonable doubt. We'll set your conditions of pretrial release this afternoon. That is your bail or your bond. In most cases, you've had a bond set already pursuant to the bond schedule here in the 5th Judicial Circuit, or the warrant which led to your arrest. I'll determine if that bond should be raised or lowered or left the same, or whether there'll be additional conditions of pretrial release placed upon you. We'll let you know when your next court date will be. If you'd like to have the services of the public defender, I'll gladly appoint the PD to represent you this afternoon. You do have a right to have contact with folks on the outside, family, friends, counsel. Finally, and most importantly, you're advised that you do have an absolute right to remain silent with regard to the facts which surround your arrest. I encourage you to do that. These proceedings are being recorded. In addition, there is an assistant state attorney in the courtroom with me. If you say something that tends to incriminate you, they will use it against you in the prosecution down the road. I now need each and every one of you there at the jail to please raise your right hands and be sworn. You all solemnly swear or affirm, tell the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth? Outstanding. When you hear your name called, you can step forward to the podium. Juan Janssen.
Good afternoon, Judge.
He's coming. He's standing. Come on up to Juan.
Good afternoon, sir.
Juan, what's your date of birth?
October 19, 1963.
Juan, you have 2 charges today, a battery being domestic in nature, assault being domestic in nature. There's probable cause for the charges. Mr. Brown.
If the court please, Mr. Janssen is a firefighter and paramedic for the Hernando County Fire Rescue. He's not a flight risk. The situation was domestic in nature, indicating from the indications in the PC affidavit. I believe that it was the victim who contacted my office around midnight to advise us. I don't know from her whether she is asking for a no contact or no violent, but since she is not present, Mr. Janssen understands that unless and until she comes into court asking for it to be changed to no violent contact, that it will be a no contact.
Right, very good. And I'm sure you can facilitate that.
Yes, sir.
Appropriate. All right. And then state any history for Mr. Janssen?
Your Honor, he's had 2 prior batteries as well as 3 prior drop batteries and a drop aggravated assault.
Okay, so what's the timeline?
He's had the 2 drop batteries in 2019, 2013, a battery in 93, a battery in 86, and another drop battery in 87.
Okay. All right. And Juan, you're a firefighter, is that right?
Yes, sir. Firefighter, paramedic.
All right. How long you been doing that?
September be 25 years. I retired. September 29th.
And the address I have for you is Amherst Avenue. Is that where you live?
Amherst Avenue, yes, sir.
All right. And you were living with Mrs. Jansen's?
Yes, sir. She was living with me after an accident she had 2 years ago. But we're divorced, 9 years.
Okay. I'm going to set your bond at $100 on each charge. That's a total of $200. Until I hear from her, the condition of that bond is that you'll have no contact with her while these charges are pending. No contact means no contact of any kind. You don't call, you don't write, you don't email, you don't text message. Don't contact her through social media. Don't have a third person contact her. Don't go where she lives. Don't go where she works. Don't have any contact of any kind. Any way that you might imagine having contact, I forbid you to do that. If you have contact and we find out about it, your bond can be revoked and it can be held without bond until the charges are resolved. It means no contact even if she wants the contact, so if you answer your phone and hear her voice, you should hang up. If you're out and about and see her, turn around and run the other way. You need to understand that she cannot drop the charges against you. That's not a decision she gets to make. She may go to the state attorney's office and ask them to drop the charges, but that decision belongs solely to the assistant state attorney who will be handling your case. So unless that person or the judge on your case or your lawyer tell you the charges are dropped, you should assume they are not dropped and you should not have contact. In addition, I have to hold you until 4 o'clock this afternoon so that if she wanted to serve you with a civil injunction for protection against domestic violence, we'd know where to find you. If you get the civil injunction, it's doubly important you not have contact because in that case, not only would you get your bond revoked here, but you would get new charges for violating the injunction. As far as the home where you guys were both living, if the no contact doesn't get lifted, you can go by one time to collect your clothes, your toothbrush, whatever you need, wherever you plan to stay. To do that, you would have to contact the sheriff's office first. They would arrange a time to meet you there with a deputy who'd stand by while you got your things and got going where you're going. You'll be back in court on the 29th of June. Very important that you stay in touch with Mr. Brown when you get out, all right?
Yes, yes, sir.
All right, thank you, Juan.
The
Thanks,
29th of this
Thank you,
month.
Your Honor. Is the court please, does the clerk have a case number?
Probably not yet.
No? All right. Does the court please, that concludes my business. May I be excused?
Yes, you may. Have a good day, Jim.
You too, Judge. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Brown.
Kevin Detlefson. Afternoon, Kevin. What's your date of birth?
August 13th, 2003.
Kevin, the charge is criminal mischief. There's probable cause for the charge. As to that charge, you want to represent yourself. You're going to hire private counsel. Would you like the public defender?
Thanks. See you later.
Kevin, you want the PD?
I didn't quite hear or understand.
The public defender. Would you like me to appoint an attorney to represent you?
Yeah.
I'll appoint the PD, State.
No priors, Your Honor.
And Kevin, I have an address for you on Greystone Drive in Spring Hill. Is that where you live?
Yeah.
How long have you lived there?
Since beginning of the year.
All right. Are you working at all these days?
No.
Okay.
And Your Honor, I believe the victim's present and wishes to be heard.
Oh, have the victim come forward. Right to the podium, ma'am. Right there. There you go. You raise your right hand for me. Do you solemnly swear, affirm, tell the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
State your name.
Dolores Murphy Galaire.
All right. Dolores, what do you want to tell me?
This boy had a mental breakdown. He's not a criminal,
Okay.
but I can't take him home.
Okay. Well,
I need him to get help.
okay. Well, unfortunately, that's not going to happen today, all right? I've appointed him a lawyer today. They'll be helping him with that. I can order him not to have contact with you today if that's what you want. So-
No, I want contact with him.
Okay, well, then he's going to be able to come to the house. You understand that?
Would he'll come to the house?
He can go wherever he wants to go. If you tell me you want peaceful contact, then he's going to be able to do whatever he wants
And
to
where's
do.
he going to live?
I don't know.
Kevin, would you go to a private hospital?
I'm gonna go to a recruiter.
You have to speak up, Kevin. It's hard to hear you.
Your plans don't work.
I
Did you-
haven't done my plans.
I want
I've
you,
been trying to help my family.
Kevin, I cannot bring you home.
Okay, and ma'am, we can't,
Okay.
there's not much we're going to be able to do beyond that today, okay? I'm going to order no contact until we get settled what's going to happen next, okay?
I'd like to talk to him about the private care.
Well, yeah, but you can't do that here today. You'll be, and if I order no contact, they won't let you go see him at the jail if he stays at the jail.
Can he call me?
Well, you're asking for a real hybrid, and I don't really have that option. Either I can order peaceful contact, and then you can talk to him, and you can talk to him on the phone, and that's great.
But he has no place to live.
Ma'am, I can't.
And he has no money, and he has no job. And he's 20. He doesn't even know what you were asking about a public defender.
Because he has no criminal history. I get that.
And he's a COVID child. He had no normal schooling last year in New York.
Okay.
But I need him to get help. I can't have him violent in my home.
Okay. What I'm going to do is set his bond at $500. Condition of the bond, Kevin, is that you're going to have no contact with Dolores. You're not going to her house. You're not having any contact of any kind. Do you understand that?
He doesn't have $500.
Okay. And we're going to have him back in court on the 29th of June. If he can't get out, the public defender is going to go see him. The public defender is the person who can start finding a way to help him out. I encourage you to stay in contact with the folks at the public defender's office, okay? All right, very good. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Donald Bain,
I'm sorry, I just misunderstood.
your bond is $500. You're back in court on June 29th. Donald Bain,
Yes, sir.
Morning, Donald, what's your date of birth?
6/24/1976.
Donald, the charge is battery being domestic in nature. There's probable cause for the charge. As to that charge, you wish to represent yourself. You're going to hire private counsel. Or would you like the public defender?
Yeah, I would.
I'm sorry, say it again.
Yes, I would like a public.
I'll appoint the PD. State.
Your Honor, he had a trespass in 2023, a possession paraphernalia, and a battery in 2022. He's also had another battery in 2020, an FTA battery, VOP FTA in 2015. He had another battery in 2014. He has a violation of pre-trial release that was dropped, a battery in 2014 again, 2 counts of trespass in 2010, two counts of grand theft in 2007, the driver not suspended 2006, an FTA, and DOC in 2005, it seems like. And he also has a VOP in 2004.
All right. Donald, I have an address for you on Colony Drive. Is that where you live?
Yes.
How long have you lived there?
3 years.
And does Lori live there as well?
Yes, sir.
All right, are you working these days?
Yes, I am.
What do you do?
TNT concrete pumping.
Okay. All right, I'm going to set your bond at $1,000. Condition of the bond is that you have no contact with Lori. Did you hear me explain no contact a moment ago?
Yes, sir.
Did you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Also going to hold you till 4 p.m. So if she wants to serve you with an injunction, we know where to find you. You may go by the Colony Drive address once to collect your things, but you must contact the sheriff's office before you go. And I'll have you back in court on the 29th of June. Very important that you contact the public defender when you get out, all right?
Okay, all right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Michael Scalise. Afternoon, sir. What's your date of birth?
5/20/72.
Michael, first thing I have for you is a warrant that was signed by Judge Vergara. She found probable cause for 5 charges: aggravated battery, aggravated assault, and 3 counts of simple battery. I have another warrant, was also signed by Judge Vergara, where she found probable cause for 1 count of felon in possession of a firearm. As to those charges, then, you wish to represent yourself. You're going to hire private counsel, or would you like the public defender?
I don't really know public defender.
Jill, is there anything you can do to make that louder? I can hardly hear them at all.
I'm sorry. Oh, sir, sorry.
Would you like the public defender?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'll point the PD. State.
Your Honor, he has a grand theft in 2012, a cannabis charge in 96, and some additional possession or drug possessions in 96, and he has history before that.
Sir.
Michael, I have an address for you on Bailey Hill Road. Is that where you live?
Yes, sir, that's where I live.
Oh, what's going on now?
Is he beeping at me or something? Oh, sorry. Yes, sir, I live here.
Hang on, hang on. Are they going to be able to turn it off, or? Is there a plan to fix this, by the way? Do we know?
They don't seem that there's a problem.
Have they been in here? And they think it's okay? Tell them I think it's not okay. All right. Are you working these days, Michael?
I'm sorry.
Are you working?
Yes, sir.
What do you do?
I work at U.S. Post Office.
Okay. All right. Let's see. Okay, on the felon in possession, I'm going to leave the bond per the schedule, which is the $10,000. That one's coming back on the 29th of June. On the aggravated battery and the aggravated assault, those will be 5,000 each. On the 3 misdemeanor batteries, 1,000 each. So that's 10, 13, 23 all the way around. Condition on the battery charges is that you have no contact with Miss Scalise. Did you hear me explain no contact before?
I did, yes, sir.
All right. So we'll have all these cases are coming back June 29th, Michael. If you get out, make sure you go and see the public defender right away, okay?
So sir, can I bond out?
Yes, I set bonds on everything, yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir, so much. Thank you.
Lamont Morgan. Afternoon, Lamont. What's your date of birth?
12/27/77.
I got a warrant for you out of Pasco County. Judge down there thinks you failed to appear in court and set your bond at $5,000. I can't change that because it's out of county. I'll give Pasco 5 days to come get you. Doesn't take 5 days with Pasco. But if for some strange reason you were still here in 5, they'd bring you back to see me and we'd find out what the problem is, all right?
So my bond is for 5,000.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you. Brett Easton. Afternoon, Brett. What's your date of birth?
Afternoon, sir. 10/5/1990.
Brett, I have 1 count of burglary of a dwelling, 1 count grand theft auto, 4 counts of defrauding a pawnbroker, 4 counts of dealing in stolen property. There's probable cause for all those charges. As to those charges, you want to represent yourself. You're going to hire private counsel. Would you like the public defender?
Public defender, sir.
I'll appoint the PD, State.
Your Honor, he has a petty theft that he got a pretrial diversion on earlier this year. And that's about it.
That's it. All right, and Brett, I don't have an address for you. Is there any place in particular you've been staying?
Yeah, with my mom.
What's the address?
13618 Dunwoody Drive.
All right. Are you working these days?
No, sir.
All right. All right, so you have a total of 10 charges. I'm going to set the bond at 1,000 on each one, so your total is 10,000. I'm going to have you back in court on June 29th. Very important that you go see the public defender if you get out, all right?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
And Tre'shawn Kincaid. Afternoon, sir. What's your date of birth?
How you doing? In 01/28/2003.
All right, I've got 2 charges, possession of marijuana and driving under the influence. There's probable cause for those charges. As to those charges, you want to represent yourself. You want to hire private counsel. Would you like the public defender?
Public defender.
I'll appoint the PD, Steve.
Yeah, just juvenile history, Your Honor.
And Mr. Kincaid, I have an address for you on Walker Avenue. Is that where you live?
Yes, sir.
How long you been there?
It's on and off.
Okay. Are you working these days?
Yes, sir.
What do you do?
I build decks, like around houses.
Okay. You said nothing but juvenile?
Yeah, he only has juvenile history, Your Honor.
Mr. Kincaid, on the marijuana, I will release you on your own recognizance, so they'll let you out on that one. You're coming back June 19th. On the DUI, I'll leave the bond at $500. That one's also coming back on, that should be June 19th, right? Okay. On June 19th. Make sure you go see the public defender when you get out, all right?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thanks, Dale. Good morning, folks. My name is Kurt Hitzman, County Court Judge here in Hernando County. Some of you folks are here for your first appearance. The purpose of the first appearance is so that you may be informed of the charges against you. I'll determine if probable cause exists for those charges. Probable cause simply means it's more likely than not that a crime has occurred, more likely than not you're the person who committed that crime. Of course, as you stand before me this morning, I presume that you're innocent of these allegations. That presumption of innocence will stay with you through every stage of the proceedings unless and until the state attorney's office is able to prove the allegations against you beyond and to the exclusion of a reasonable doubt. We'll set your conditions of pretrial release this morning. That is your bail or your bond. In most cases, you've had a bond set already pursuant to the bond schedule here in the 5th Judicial Circuit of the warrant which led to your arrest. I'll determine if that bond should be raised or lowered or left the same, or whether there'll be additional conditions of pretrial release placed upon you. We'll let you know when your next court date will be, and if you'd like to have the services of the public defender, I'll gladly appoint the PD to represent you this morning. You do have a right to have contact with folks on the outside, family, friends, counsel. Finally, and most importantly, you're advised that you do have an absolute right to remain silent with regard to the facts which surround your arrest. I encourage you to do that. These proceedings are being recorded. In addition, there is an assistant state attorney in the courtroom with me today. If you say something that tends to incriminate you, they will use it against you in the prosecution down the road. I now need each and every one of you there for first appearance to raise your right hands and be sworn. Y'all solemnly swear, affirm, tell the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth? Outstanding. When you hear your name called, you can step forward to the podium. Amy England. Morning, Amy. Date of birth?
2/20/94.
All right, Amy, I've got 3 warrants signed by Judge Barbie. They're all for failing to appear, apparently in drug court. Did you have a public defender on those charges, Amy?
I don't believe so.
She did. Okay, all right. So I'll reappoint the public defender on your cases. Judge Barbie has set your bonds at no bond, so I can't change those. I'm going to send you back to see him on June 22nd, and the public defender will come see you at the jail before you go to court again, okay?
Okay.
All right, thanks, Amy.
Thank you.
Jamir King.
Good morning, sir.
Morning, date of birth?
5/21/89.
Jamir, I have 2 charges, aggravated battery and battery, both being domestic in nature. There's probable cause for those charges. As to those charges, you wish to represent yourself. You're going to hire private counsel. Would you like the public defender?
Public defender, please.
I'll appoint the PD, state.
Your Honor, he's a violation of pretrial release for a domestic violence case earlier this year. He also has 2 dropped batteries, both last year.
All right, and sir, I have an address for you on Folger Street in Spring Hill. Is that where you live?
Yes.
How long have you lived there?
For a year.
All right, and Miss Anderson lives there as well?
Yes.
Are you working these days?
I am, yes, sir.
What do you do?
Customer service for T-Mobile.
I'm going to set your bond at $10,000 on each count. The total is $20,000. Condition of the bond is that you'll have no contact with Miss Anderson while these charges are pending. No contact means no contact of any kind. You don't call, you don't write, you don't email, you don't text message, don't contact her through social media, don't have a third person contact her. Any way that you might imagine getting her a message, I forbid you to do that. If you have contact and we find out about it, your bonds can be revoked and you can be held without bond until the charges are resolved. It means no contact even if she wants the contact, so if you answer your phone and hear her voice, you should hang up. If you're out and about and see her, you should turn around and run the other way. You need to understand that she cannot drop the charges against you. That's not a decision that she gets to make. She may go to the state attorney's office and ask them to drop the charges. She may tell them she's not interested in pursuing this matter, but that decision belongs solely to the assistant state attorney handling your case. So unless that person or the judge on your case or your lawyer tell you the charges are dropped, you should assume they are not dropped and you should not have contact. In addition, I have to hold you today up until 4 p.m. so that if she wanted to serve you with a civil injunction for protection against domestic violence, we'd know where to find you. If you get the civil injunction, it's doubly important that you not have contact, because in that case, not only would you get your bond revoked here, but you could get new charges for violating the injunction. As far as the home on Folger is concerned, as long as Miss Anderson stays there, you'll have to find somewhere else to stay. You may go by the house one time to collect your clothes, your toothbrush, whatever you need forever you plan to stay. To do that, however, you must contact the sheriff's office first. They will arrange a time to meet you there with a deputy who will stand by while you get your things and get going where you're going. I'm going to have you back in court on June 29th. It's very important that you contact the public defender's office when you get out, all right?
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you. Pandalous of us.
Hello.
Morning, miss. What's your date of birth?
4/12/83.
I've got a warrant for you out of Pinellas County. Judge in Pinellas County found probable cause for a violation of probation and set your bond at no bond. I have no authority to change that, unfortunately. We'll let the folks in Pinellas know that you're here and ready to go. We'll give them 5 days to come pick you up. If for some strange reason you're still here in 5 days, they'll bring you back to see me, and we'll find out what the holdup is, all right?
Okay, thank you.
Hey. Naya Smith. Morning, Ms. Smith. What's your date of birth?
2/1/89.
Ms. Smith, the charge is battery being domestic in nature. There's probable cause for the charge. As to that charge, you want to represent yourself. You're going to hire private counsel. Would you like the public defender?
Public defender.
I'll appoint the PD. State.
Your Honor, she's had a prior disorderly conduct in 2022. She also has a dropped battery in 2017, expired driver's license in 2014, petty theft in 2011, another petty theft in 2011, which is a withhold. And that's it.
Ms. Smith, I have an address for you on Arcades Avenue in Spring Hill. Is that where you live?
Yes, sir.
And how long have you lived there?
3 years.
And does Mr. Russo live there as well?
Yes, sir.
All right. Are you working these days?
Yes, sir.
What do you do?
I work for 7-Eleven.
Okay. I'm going to set your bond at $500. Condition is that you have no contact with Mr. Russo while this charge is pending. Did you hear me explain no contact a moment ago?
Yes.
Did you understand it?
Yes.
Very good. I also have to hold you till 4 p.m. so that if he wants to serve you with an injunction, we know where to find you. You also may go back to the home that you guys shared to collect your clothes, your toothbrush, whatever you need, wherever you're going to go, but you must contact the sheriff's office first. I'm going to have you back in court on June 19th. Very important that you contact the public defender when you get out, okay?
Yes, sir.
Very good. Thank you. Christopher Chalura. Morning, Chris. What's your date of birth?
3891.
Chris, I have a warrant for you that was signed by Judge Toner. Judge Toner found probable cause for 2 counts of fraudulent use of a credit card, 1 count of criminal use of personal identification, and 1 count of burglary of a conveyance. As to those charges, you wish to represent yourself. You're going to hire private counsel. Would you like me to appoint the public defender?
Public defender, please.
I'll appoint the PD. State.
Your Honor, he's had a prior petty theft in 2018 adjudication, a fraudulent use of identification, and obtaining goods through the unlawful use of credit card in 2018, which you got a PTI and a withhold for.
All right, Christopher, I have an address for you on La Paloma Lane in Brooksville. Is that where you live?
No, sir.
Where do you live now?
Lauderdale Street.
Okay, what's the number?
16167.
Okay. And how long have you been there?
My wife and I just moved there, sir.
All right.
About 2
Are you
weeks ago.
working these days?
Yes, sir.
What do you do?
I'm a tech support for an online company.
Okay. I'm going to set your bond at $1,000 on each of the 4 charges. That's a total of $4,000. I'm going to have you back in court on the 29th of June. Very important that you go see the public defender if you get out, all right?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Something? Hang on. Okay. David Dale? Morning, David. What's your date of birth?
6/16/82.
David, I have a warrant for you signed by Judge Merritt. He thinks you failed to appear in his court in April on possession of cocaine and possession of drug paraphernalia. Did you have an attorney representing you on those cases, David?
I don't remember his name.
Pardon me?
I don't know.
Would you like the public defender?
Yeah, different one.
I'll appoint the public defender. Judge Merritt set your bonds at $10,000 and $2,500 respectively. I can't change those. That's a total of $12,500. You'll be back in front of Judge Merritt on June 20th. If you're unable to bond out, the public defender will come see you before court, all right?
Your Honor, can we ask for June 6th?
June 6th. Very good. June 6th.
Thank you, Your Honor.
June what?
June 6th.
All right.
Thank you. Sean Greaves.
Morning, sir.
Morning, Sean. What's your date of birth?
10/20/69.
Sean, this is a warrant signed by Judge Bell. Apparently, she thinks you failed to appear in her court on a petty theft. State, can he resolve this today?
Your Honor, we don't have an offer currently.
Okay. All right. Sean, you want the public defender? You're going to represent yourself, hire a private lawyer?
I actually already have one appointed.
Yeah, we're already appointed on him, Your Honor.
Okay. He has a different case than this, or he's appointed
No,
on this?
it's on this case.
Okay.
And Judge, he was arrested on 3/16, and
Okay.
we still don't have an offer from the state.
Okay. Sean, I have an address for you on Herschel Road in Brooksville. Is that where you live?
That's correct, sir.
How long you been there?
5 years.
All right. Are you working these days?
Yes, sir.
What are you doing?
I do home remodeling.
Okay. And state any history?
One moment, Your Honor. I believe he has significant theft history. He has an open felony in Pasco for larceny. He has a battery, or a felony battery retail theft, misdemeanor battery that was dropped, 3 batteries that were dropped in 2015, another battery that was dropped. He has cruelty towards children in 2002 and obtaining property in return for worthless check, 2 counts in 2000 and 1999, as well as resisting without.
Sean, I'll set your bond at $500. I'll have you back in court on the 21st of June. Make sure you go see the PD when you get out, all right?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Isaiah Padilla. Morning, Isaiah. What's your date of birth?
12/17/02.
The charge is battery on a pregnant person, being domestic in nature. There's probable cause for the charge. As to that charge, you wish to represent yourself. You're going to hire private counsel. Would you like the public defender?
Public, please.
I'll point the PD, State.
Your Honor, he had a prior assault here in Hernando late last year, which he got a PTI for.
All right. And Isaiah, I have an address for you on Holbrook Street in Spring Hill. Is that where you live?
Yeah.
How long have you lived there?
A year.
All right. Does Miss Ford live there as well?
No.
She does not?
No.
Okay. And do you have a job these days?
No.
All right. We'll set your bond at $2,000. Condition of the bond is that you have no contact with Miss Ford. Did you hear me explain no contact?
Yeah.
Did you understand it?
Yes.
Also going to hold you till 4 p.m., so if she wants to serve you with an injunction, we know where to find you. You'll be back in court on June 29th. Very important that you contact the public defender when you get out, okay?
Okay.
Thank you. Raul Ruiz, Medina. Morning, sir. What's your date of birth?
08/06/1988.
Raul, I have a warrant for you out of Pasco County. Judge down there found probable cause for a grand theft and set your bond at $20,000. I have no authority to change that bond. If you can post the bond, then you can go down to Newport Richie, find out when they want you in court. If you can't post it, we'll give Pasco 5 days to come pick you up, okay?
All right.
Thank you. Alfredo Valdez. Can this be resolved today? Morning, Alfredo. What's your date of birth?
06/04/94.
Charge is trespass.
Your Honor, we'll just ask for 10 days.
Alfredo, if you wanted to, the charge, there's probable cause for the charge. If you wanted to resolve the charge today, it would be 10 days in the county jail. You'd already have credit for 2. If you'd rather try to bond out and talk to a lawyer first, you sure can do that. What would you like to do?
I like to do 10 days.
All right. You understand by entering a plea today, you give up the right to have a trial by jury, the right to confront the witnesses against you, the right to remain silent, the right to have a lawyer represent you, but you want to give up those rights so we can take care of this today?
Yeah.
As to the charge of trespass, how do you wish to plead? You can plead no contest.
No contest.
I'll accept the plea, find it was freely and voluntarily made. I'll adjudicate you guilty. Sentence you to 10 days in the county jail. Credit 2 days served. Fine and court costs is $550. Costs of incarceration. But that takes care of it, Alfredo. You just have to finish the time, okay? Thanks, man. Carl Brown. Morning, Carl. What's your date of birth?
Good morning. 5/25/1966.
Carl, I have a warrant here signed by Judge Bell. She found probable cause for 3 charges: driving under the influence, driving on a suspended license, and refusal to submit. As to those charges, you wish to represent yourself. You're going to hire private counsel. Would you like the public defender?
Public defender, Your Honor.
I'll appoint the PD, Steve.
Your Honor, he has an open battery on a 65-year-old and older. In Sumter, he also has 9 prior DUIs, 2 prior refusals. We would ask that the bond stays the same. This is the same, or the bond amounts are the same as when he first got arrested.
Carl, I've got an address for you on Campbell Drive. Is that where you live?
No, sir.
Where do you live now?
Punta Gorda.
Do you have an address in Punta Gorda?
28200 Vermont Road.
All right. How long you been down in Punta Gorda?
5 years.
All right. You working these days?
Disabled.
All right. I'm going to leave the bonds per the schedule, which is $7,500 on the DUI, $2,000 on the driving, $500 on the refusal. That's a total of $10,000. We'll have you back in court on the 29th of June. Very important that you go see the public defender if you get out, all right?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. And then, jail, did Cuevas bond out?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Awesome. Thanks, jail.
Good morning. Can everyone hear me at the county jail?
Don't tell me.
Was that a thumbs up? Jail, can you hear me?
Yes, Juan.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. I wasn't sure if that was a thumbs up. And I've got new glasses, so might need another set. But good morning, everyone. I'm Judge Bell, and you are here for your first appearance. The purpose of first appearance is so that you're informed of the charges against you. I will determine if probable cause exists for those charges. Probable cause means that it's more likely than not that a crime has occurred, and more likely than not that you're the person that committed that crime. Of course, as you stand before me this morning, I presume that you're innocent of these allegations, and that presumption of innocence will stay with you through every course of the proceeding, unless and until the Office of the State Attorney is able to prove the allegations against you beyond and to the exclusion of a reasonable doubt. I will set the conditions of pretrial release this morning, which is your bail or bond. In most cases, you have a bond set already pursuant to the bond schedule here in the 5th Judicial Circuit, or the warrant that led to your arrest. We'll determine if that bond should be raised, lowered, or remain the same, and whether or not there'll be additional conditions of pretrial release placed upon you. We'll let you know when your next court date will be. If you'd like the services of the Office of the Public Defender, I'll gladly appoint the Office of the Public Defender to represent you. You're advised that you have a right to have contact with folks on the outside, to include family, friends, and counsel. Finally, and most importantly, you're advised that you have an absolute right to remain silent, and I encourage you to do so, for there is an assistant state attorney here in the courtroom with me this morning. If you tend to say something to incriminate yourself, they will use it in the prosecution down the road. So may I please have each and every one of you raise your right hands to be sworn. Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you. When you hear your name, may you please step forward to the podium. Misty Nguyen. Good morning, ma'am. May I please have your date of birth?
5/1/89.
Thank you so much. I have several matters for you this morning. The first is a case involving one count of trafficking in a controlled substance. There's probable cause for that charge. You're going to represent yourself, hire a private attorney, or would you like the services of the Office of the Public Defender?
Public defender.
I'll appoint the Office of the Public Defender to represent you.
Excuse me.
God bless you. I also have another case for you that involves one count of carjacking. There's probable cause for that charge. Would you like the public defender in that case as well?
Yes, ma'am.
I'll appoint the Office of the Public Defender in that matter as well. I also have for you this morning a failure to appear. And that was a capias that was signed by Judge Merritt Jr. And that's on 4 counts. Would you like the public defender appointed in that matter as well?
Yes, ma'am.
As for the failure to appear, so I'll appoint the Office of the Public Defender in that matter. There are no bonds associated with the capias. I'm going to keep the no bonds. We're going to have you back in court. I have July 5th,
I have June 20th, Merritt Jr. on the D docket.
June 20th. Is that at 9 a.m.?
Yes, ma'am, it should be.
Thank you so much. On June 20th at 9 a.m. in courtroom D.
Thank you.
You're welcome. As for the carjacking, I'm going to set your bond at $25,000. I'm going to have you in court on that June 20th date as well. At 9 a.m. As for the trafficking in a controlled substance, I'm going to set your bond at $25,000 and have you back in court on June 20th at 9 a.m., all in front of Judge Merritt Jr. All right, thank you so much. Ms. Crabtree? Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
May I please have your date of birth?
3/22/76.
Thank you so much. I have for you today a charge of battery that's domestic in nature. There's probable cause for that charge. You're going to represent yourself, hire a private attorney, or would you like the services of the Office of the Public Defender?
Public defender.
Yes, ma'am. I'll appoint the Office of the Public Defender to represent you.
Ms. Crabtree has no priors.
Thank you so much. And Ms. Crabtree, I have an address for you on Shaver Drive in Brooksville.
Yes.
Is that a good address for you, ma'am?
Yes.
And how long have you lived there?
30 years.
Do you have family in the area?
Yes.
Are you currently working?
No.
So any condition of bond today is going to be no contact with Mr. Bruce Crabtree.
Okay.
No contact means no contact of any kind. You cannot call, you cannot write, you cannot email, you cannot text message, you cannot contact them through social media or a third party. You cannot go where they live or where they work. Any way that you might imagine having contact, the court forbids you to do so. For if you did and the court found out about it, the court could revoke your bond and you could be held without bond until the charge is resolved. It means no contact even if that person wants the contact. So for example, if you pick up the phone and you hear his voice, you should hang up. If you're out and about and you see him, you should walk the other way. If you were sharing a home with that person, you may go by one time with the assistance of law enforcement. So in order to do so, you'll need to contact the Hernando County Sheriff's Office, and they'll arrange a time and day to meet you there with the deputy so you can grab your belongings.
I have a child with him that lives in the home with us.
And I would encourage you to speak to your attorney about how that's going to work, because as of right now, there's no contact with Mr. Crabtree.
Okay. Also, my husband's name is not on the deed at all. So do I have to leave, or does he?
I would encourage you to reach out to your attorney about that. I did appoint the Office of the Public Defender to represent you.
Yes, ma'am.
And I'm going to set your bond at $50. And we're going to have you back in court in June 21st at 9 a.m. There's no program on here, Madam Clerk? June 21st at 9 a.m. June 21st at 9 looks like courtroom C.
June 29th, is that a felony or misdemeanor?
Misdemeanor.
For misdemeanor, it will be
Here in courtroom C.
7-5, courtroom B.
Oh, this is June 21st.
She took the day before, so it'll be in courtroom C.
Okay, thank you.
She took it for the 29th.
All right. So, June 21st at 9 a.m. in courtroom C here in the courthouse. All right, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Miss Ayotte or Ayotte? Hi, ma'am. How do you pronounce your name?
Amanda Ayotte.
I'm sorry?
Ayotte.
Ayotte? Thank you. Miss Ayotte, may you please have your date of birth?
6888.
Thank you so much. I have for you today a charge with battery that's domestic in nature. There's probable cause for that charge. Are you going to represent yourself? Hire a private attorney? Would you like the services of the Office of the Public Defender?
Public defender, please.
Yes, ma'am. I'll appoint the Office of the Public Defender to represent you.
Ms. Zayat has no priors.
Thank you so much. And Miss Ayat, I have a address for you in Belford, New Jersey.
Correct.
Is that a good address for you?
Yes.
Okay. And how long have you lived in New Jersey?
My whole life.
Do you have family here in Hernando County?
Yes.
Okay. And whom does that family include?
My dad lives here in Spring Hill, and my grandparents live down in Ruskin, where I'm staying.
And are you currently working?
Yes.
And do you work in New Jersey or work here?
New Jersey.
Okay. What do you do for work?
Home health aide.
So, a condition of bond this morning is going to be no contact. I think it's your father, Robert Jester?
Yep. Correct.
And so that's, did you hear me describe no contact earlier?
I did.
Okay. Do you understand it fully?
I do.
Okay. I'm going to set your bond at $50. I'm going to have you back in court on June 21st at 9 a.m. in courtroom C here in the courthouse in Brooksville.
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Wiley? Good morning, sir. May you please have your date of birth?
October 7th, 1978.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. I have a charge for you today of trespass after warning. There's probable cause for that charge. You're going to represent yourself, hire a private attorney, or would you like the services of the Office of the Public Defender?
Yeah, the public defender's office, please.
Yes, sir. I'll appoint the Office of the Public Defender to represent you.
Mr. Wiley has 8 prior trespasses, all at the same location, and the state would offer 60 days to resolve today.
Yes, Mr. Wiley,
Yes, ma'am.
did you hear the offer from the state attorney's office?
No, ma'am, I couldn't.
The offer was adjudication, 60 days, credit time served.
Did you hear that, Mr. Wiley?
I was still trying to get a little bit lower. I mean, I do have a campsite that I have to go back and get to. I know it's pressing. There's been some other pressing matters, but I mean, I was in the process of trying to move back over to Brooksville. So.
Okay, so what I can do is we can discuss the what bond is appropriate in this matter, and then I'll let you know when your next court date will be. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
Are those his only priors?
Yes, Your Honor.
And Mr. Wiley, do you live here in Hernando County?
Yeah, I mean, I'm originally from Texas, but yeah.
And how long have you lived here in Hernando County?
About probably two and a half years or 2 years by now.
Are you currently working?
No.
I'm going to leave your bond pursuant to the schedule at $1,000. And I'm going to have you back in court on June 21st at 9 a.m. in courtroom C.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you so much. Mr. Roberts? Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Your Honor.
May I please have your date of birth?
12/30/1996.
Thank you so much. I have a charge for you today, a battery that's domestic in nature. There's probable cause for that charge. You're going to represent yourself, hire a private attorney, or would you like the services of the Office of the Public Defender?
Public Defender, Your Honor.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I'll appoint the Office of the Public Defender to represent you.
Mr. Romero has a 2021 no driver's license, 2017 violation of pretrial conditions of release, 2 of them, 2017 adjudication on a battery, and a 2016 possession of marijuana less than 20 grams.
Thank you. And sir, I have an address for you on Orlando Avenue in Brooksville.
Yes, ma'am.
Is that a good address for you?
Yes, Your Honor.
And how long have you lived there?
We just signed our lease about 4 months ago.
And did you live in Hernando County prior to that?
No, ma'am. I lived in Ohio. I've been back and forth here in Ohio. I had family going on, family problems with my mom in Ohio, so I went to Ohio for a couple months before I came back. But I was in Springfield before. Yes, ma'am.
And do you have family here in Hernando County?
Yes, ma'am.
And whom does that family include?
My father, my stepmother, my mother-in-law, and my children.
Are you currently working?
Yes, ma'am.
What do you do for work?
I work at Cheddar's.
So condition of your bond today is to have no contact with Brittany Ross.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you hear me describe no contact earlier?
Absolutely.
And did you understand it fully?
Yes, ma'am.
So you understand that if you were sharing a home with that person, you could go
Yes,
by
I have
one
to
time?
leave. Yes, I'm way ahead of you. Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. With the assistance of law enforcement. So that means you need to contact the Hernando County Sheriff's Office.
To get my belongings correct.
Yes, they'll arrange a time to have a deputy meet you there, and you can grab your belongings.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. You also know that you can't have any way that you might imagine having contact.
Yeah,
The court
no, like
forbids
no
you
text
to do
messages,
that.
no calls, no third party. Yeah, I've had a no contact order before. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I'm going to set your bond at $1,000 pursuant to that schedule.
Yes, ma'am.
Again, no contact with the victim, and I'm going to have you in court on June 29th at 1:30 p.m. in courtroom E.
Yes, ma'am. Sorry, can you repeat the date one more time?
It's June 29th at 1:30 p.m. in courtroom E here in the courthouse in Brooksville.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Mr. Henzel?
Yes, ma'am.
Good morning, sir. May I please have your date of birth?
7682.
Thank you so much. I have for you today a charge of trespass after warning. There's probable cause for that charge. You're going to represent yourself, hire a private attorney, or would you like the services of the Office of the Public Defender?
Public defender, please.
Yes, sir. I'll appoint the Office of the Public Defender to represent you.
Mr. Henzel has a felony adjudication in 2021 of carrying a concealed weapon, possession of paraphernalia, no motor vehicle registration, and expired driver's license over 6 months. State would opt to resolve today with time served.
And Mr. Henzel, did you hear the offer from the state attorney?
Yes, please.
Is that something that you'd like to consider today?
Yeah.
Okay. So you'd like to accept the adjudication and time served disposition?
Yes, please.
Okay. And you, how old are you, sir?
I am 40.
And can you read and write and understand the English language?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you currently under the influence of drugs or alcohol?
No.
And you understand by entering a plea, you're waiving your right to trial by jury to confront the witnesses against you and to any further discovery?
Yeah.
You also understand that you're waiving your right to have the state prove the case beyond and to the exclusion of a reasonable doubt?
Yes.
And you understand you're giving up those rights to take care of it with this resolution?
Yep.
And in this case, to the charge of trespass after warning, how do you wish to plead? You may plead no contest.
No contest.
I'll accept your no contest plea. I'll find that it's freely and voluntarily made. I'll adjudicate you guilty, sentence you to 2 days in the county jail with 2 days credit for time served. I'll assess the standard fine and court costs as well as the cost of prosecution, cost of defense, and any cost of incarceration. And Madam Clerk, may I please have the amount? That's $450.
All right, thank you.
And if there's nothing else holding you in county jail, you may be released today.
All right, thank you.
All right, you're welcome. Thank you. Mr. Levesque? Good morning, sir.
Morning.
May I please have your date of birth?
4/15/77.
Thank you so much. I have 3 charges for you this morning. Battery on a law enforcement officer, trespass after warning, and resisting without violence. There's probable cause for those charges. You're going to represent yourself, hire a private attorney. Would you like the services of the Office of the Public Defender?
Public defender, I guess.
I'll appoint the Office of the Public Defender to represent you.
Defendant has an open felony for possession of a controlled substance and possession of paraphernalia from 2022. 2 counts, actually. In addition, he's got a 2020 adjudication for petty theft and a 2019 PTI for petty theft.
Thank you.
And I have a note for a June 6th C docket with Merritt Jr.
Yes, ma'am, that's the same note I received. And Mr. Levesque, do you currently live in Hernando County?
Yes, ma'am.
And how long have you lived here?
For about 4 years, and my residence is the residence that I got trespassed on, so I don't understand how that happened.
And do you have family in the area?
Yes.
Are you currently working?
Yes.
What do you do for work?
Tree service.
gonna set your bond as to count one at $5,000. Gonna set your bond as to count two at $1,000. And I'm gonna set your bond as to count three at $1,000. I'm gonna have you back in court on June 6th at 1:15 p.m. in courtroom D here in the courthouse in Brooksville. All right, thank you. Mr. Pittman? Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
I have a violation of probation for you this morning out of Pasco County. There is a no bond associated with that violation of probation. I'm going to keep the no bond, and I'm going to give Pasco County 5 days to come and get you.
What happens after 5 days if they don't pick me up?
They'll let us know, and if we need to bring you back, we will, but typically they do come and get you within 5 days.
Okay.
Okay? All right, good luck to you, sir.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Carnell Thomas? Good morning, sir.
Rising.
May I please have your date of birth?
05/29/98.
Thank you so much. I have several matters for you this morning. The first case involves 3 counts: resisting without violence, possession of marijuana, and possession of drug paraphernalia. There's probable cause for those charges. Are you going to represent yourself, hire a private attorney, or would you like the services of the Office of the Public Defender?
I recently hired a private attorney.
A private attorney? Yes, sir. I also have another case for you that involves 4 counts: sale of marijuana, possession of marijuana with intent to sell, possession of a place, structure, or conveyance for the sale, trafficking, or manufacturing of a controlled substance, and possession of drug paraphernalia. There's probable cause for those charges as well. Did you hire a private attorney in that matter?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I have another case for you that involves 1 count of retail theft. There's probable cause for that charge. Did you hire the private attorney in that matter as well?
Yes, ma'am.
And then I have 2 more matters for you. One includes 5 counts: sale of marijuana, possession of marijuana with intent to sell, possession of a place, structure, or conveyance for the sale, trafficking, or manufacturing of a controlled substance, unlawful use of a two-way communications device, and possession of paraphernalia. There's probable cause for those charges. And did you by chance hire that attorney for this case?
Yes, ma'am.
And the remaining case I have for you involves 4 counts: sale of marijuana, possession of marijuana with intent to sell, possession of a place, structure, conveyance for the sale, trafficking, or manufacturing of a controlled substance, as well as possession of paraphernalia. There's probable cause for those charges. And did you hire that attorney for this case as well?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
The defendant has in 2022 2 adjudications for driving while license suspended and 1 possession of marijuana less than 20 grams. In 2019, he has an a withhold on leaving the scene of an accident with property damage, and a withhold on possession of marijuana less than 20 grams, possession of paraphernalia, no motor vehicle registration.
Thank you. And sir, I have an address for you on Tansboro Street.
It was a shipping address for my mail, using it as a mail address.
So what is a good address for you?
Yes, you can use that. That's the only address I have right now. I was living with my father, but he had moved recently, so I've been back and forth at friends and like my families.
And how long have you lived in Hernando County?
I recently have
moved out like last year, but I've been here the previous years and now.
And do you have family in Hernando County?
Yes.
Whom does that family include?
Well, my father moved last year, so he's not here, and my mother, so my aunt, my brother, and my cousins.
Are you currently working?
Yes.
What do you do for work?
Boat lifting company, so my boss, he's an installer for boat lifts. I get check deposits. I work weekly.
And the address I have for you on Tansboro Street. So if I wanted to send you a letter, is that where I would send it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So as in the first case with the resisting without the possession of marijuana and the possession of drug paraphernalia, I'm going to set your bond at $1,000 per count. I'm going to have you in court in this case on June 21st at 9 o'clock in courtroom C. As for the case involving the sale of marijuana, the possession of marijuana with intent to sell, the possession of a place, and possession of paraphernalia, I'm going to set your bond as to count 1 at $5,000. Count 2 at $5,000. Count 3 at $2,000. And count 1 at $1,000. I'm going to have you back in court on that case on June 29th at 1:30 p.m. in courtroom E. As for the next case with the retail theft, I'm going to set your bond at $500 and have you in court on that case on June 21st at 9 a.m. in courtroom C. As for the case involving the sale of marijuana, possession of marijuana with intent to sell, the possession of a place, the unlawful use of the two-way communication device, and the paraphernalia, I'm going to set your bond as to count 1 at $5,000. Set your bond as to count 2 at $5,000. Set your bond at count 3 at $2,000. Set your bond as to count 4 at $2,000. And set your bond as to count 1 at $1,000. Going to have you back in court on that case on June 29th at 1:30 p.m. in courtroom E. As for the case involving the sale of marijuana, possession of marijuana with intent to sell, the possession of the place, and the drug paraphernalia, I'm going to set your bond as to count 1 at $5,000. Set your bond as to count 2 at $5,000. Set your bond as to count 3 at $2,000. Set your bond as to count 4 at $1,000. Gonna have you in court on that case on June 29th at 1:30 p.m. in courtroom E here in the courthouse in Brooksville. All right, thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Mr. Belkeys? Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
May I please have your date of birth?
2/22/1979.
Thank you so much. I have several matters for you today. The first case involves 2 counts. There's an uttering a forged instrument and petty theft. There's probable cause for those charges. You're going to represent yourself, hire a private attorney. Would you like the services of the Office of the Public Defender?
A public defender, please.
I'll appoint the Office of the Public Defender to represent you. I also have for you this morning a violation of probation, and that was a warrant that was signed by Judge Toner. There's probable cause. Are you going to represent yourself? Hire a private attorney. Would you like the services of the Office of the Public Defender as well?
Public defender, please.
Appoint the Office of the Public Defender to represent you in that case. And then I also have a case involving an organized fraud. There's probable cause for that charge. Would you like the Public Defender's office appointed in that matter?
Yes.
Yes, sir. I'll appoint the Office of the Public Defender in that matter. As for the violation of probation, there is a no bond associated with that violation. I'm going to keep the no bond. We're going to have you back in court on June 29th at 1:30 p.m. in courtroom E. As for the organized fraud, I'm going to set your bond at $1,000. Going to have you back in court on that same day, June 29th at 1:30 p.m. As for the uttering a forged instrument, I'm going to set your bond at $2,000. And the petty theft, I'm going to set your bond at $1,000. I'm going to have you in court on that same day, June 29th at 1:30 p.m. in courtroom E here in the courthouse in Brooksville.
Good night.
All right, you're welcome. Thank you. Mr. Johnson? Good morning, sir. May I please have your date of birth?
8/13/72.
Thank you so much. I have a charge for you today of driving under the influence of drugs or alcohol. There's probable cause for that charge. You're going to represent yourself. Hire a private attorney. Would you like the services of the Office of the Public Defender?
Public defender, please.
Yes, sir. I'll appoint the Office of the Public Defender to represent you.
Mr. Johnson has no priors.
Thank you. And Mr. Johnson, I have an address for you on Broad Street here in Brooksville.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Is that a good address for you?
Yes.
And how long have you lived in Hernando County?
About 10 years.
Do you have family in the area?
Not in this, I got family over Lake now.
I'm sorry?
My father lives in Lake County, but not Hernando County.
Okay. And are you currently working?
No, I just had an accident at work. Temporary disability.
Okay. I'm going to set your bond at $500. I'm going to have you back in court on June 21st at 9 a.m. in courtroom C here in the courthouse in Brooksville.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Trenholm is currently in the hospital, is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
I'll appoint the Office of the Public Defender to represent Mr. Trenholm in this matter.
Mr. Trenholm has no priors.
No priors. I'm going to set his bond at $1,000 per count. We're going to have him in court on June 29th at 1:30 p.m. in courtroom E. Jail, I believe that concludes our first appearance.
Yes, Your Honor, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon again.
So, Ms. Williams, again, this is 2018 CT 17. You had been arrested because you violated the conditions of pretrial release. I was looking at your driving record.
Yes, ma'am.
And you have two options this morning. If you wanted to resolve your case today, it would be an adjudication of guilt and credit for time served. I would need to tell you, though, that your last driving while license suspended conviction was in 2004. So you wouldn't get a strike today for 3 convictions within 5 years, which would make you a habitual traffic offender and then make you lose your license for 5 years. But in the statute, there's a provision that if you have 3 or more convictions over your entire life, you have to spend 10 days in jail. So this would be your second strike. So the next time you pled to driving while license suspended, you would be required to do 10 days in jail. Okay. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. But I also was looking at your driving record, and what I want to do today for you too is I want to clear any of the D6s, which are the suspensions that you have for failing to pay your traffic tickets, and waive the late fees, and direct you to report to the clerk's office within 30 days to get on a payment plan. I'll also have the clerk pull any of those cases out of collections, because once you do that and get on that payment plan, you'll be able to get a driver's license.
Thank you.
As soon as you do that and you're paying those payments, you'll still have to go to the DMV because you have to pay your reinstatement fees for the old DUI that you had.
Yes, ma'am.
And as long as you're making those payments to the clerk of the court,
Yes, ma'am.
your license will be good.
Thank you.
Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I'm gonna write that down for you, Ann. Do you have?
So I can sign here.
I think the plea offer resolved. One other thing that wasn't mentioned that I want you to be aware of is that if you have 2 prior convictions for driving while license suspended, it's possible that the third one could be a felony.
Yeah, she said the 10 days.
The 10 days is a separate thing as well.
So
There's
I
a couple
get to,
things.
Go home today?
Yep, as long, I don't think anything else is holding
Okay,
you, so.
so sign
no,
here.
double check that, yeah. And I'll double check that nothing else is holding you. And Your Honor, she has told me she'd like to accept the offer of an adjudication of guilt credit for time served.
Okay, just give me 1 second. I'm just writing this in the order here.
You'll just get out because the case is resolved, so they can't hold you on a closed case.
So much.
There's gonna be court costs too, so just make sure you're paying those.
Madam Clerk, do you know what the credit time served is? Thank you.
Double check right now.
So you'll need to go down to room 410 at the Orange County Courthouse in order to be able to do that, Ms. Williams,
Yes,
okay? Now, did you read this plea form before you signed it?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have any questions about any of the constitutional rights on the form?
No, ma'am.
Are you on probation?
No, ma'am.
And do you understand that if you are not a U.S. citizen, that this plea will result in your deportation?
Yes, ma'am.
And you understand all of the collateral consequences related to this offense that I explained to you?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, at this time, I will accept your plea, adjudicate you guilty, sentence you to 3 days in the Orange County Jail. You've got credit for 3 days time served. You will have to pay court costs. Those will be due 1 year from today, or see the clerk for a payment plan. They'll put this case in the payment plan as well when you get down there, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
morning, Your Honor. This is Laura Bretaña, certified Spanish interpreter, previously sworn.
Excellent, thank you. I'm just having the defendant place the headset on at this time. If you could confirm your connection.
Sí.
There is contact, Your Honor.
Thank you. This is 23 CF 71. What's your name, please?
Manuel Enrique Briceño Rodríguez.
Manuel Enrique Briceño Rodríguez.
This, sir, you were arrested for aggravated assault with a firearm. There is probable cause. I am going to appoint the public defender to represent you. So you're not to have any contact with the gun, and you are not to possess any weapons or firearms. This time your bond is going to be $4,000. Sir, if you do have any weapons, you're going to need to surrender to call the non-emergency phone number to determine how you're going to go about surrendering those weapons. You'll have to do that within 24 hours of your release from the jail.
And that was 4,000, Your Honor?
That's correct.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This with you? Stay in touch with us, okay? That way.
Sir, good afternoon. Tell me your name, please.
Wilfredo Estrada.
Wilfredo Estrada.
This is 23 CF 4584. You were arrested pursuant to a probable cause warrant for delivery of a controlled substance within 1,000 feet of a specific area and sale and delivery of fentanyl. I will appoint the public defender to represent you. You are then returned to the scene. Your bond on count 1 is 100. Your bond on count 2 is 10,000. Thank you, sir. And that was last Spanish, correct? All right. Thank you, Madam Interpreter. That's all we have this afternoon.
Thank you, Your Honor.
And 10,000. She reduced one of them. Okay, good luck. And Your Honor, for Ms. Dawkins, she does have an offer. However, I did not have a chance to go over it with her.
Okay, do you need to take a minute?
Yes, Your Honor. Okay, so here's the deal. You have, should be a trespass and resisting without, but they have it as. So you don't have to talk about the facts. You don't have to take the plea offer, but it sounds like you don't want to and you have some defenses. And then please don't talk about the facts, though. Your Honor, it sounds like she may have some potential defenses that she'd like to explore, so she will not be taking the offer at this time.
No problem. Ma'am, this is 23 MM 3712. You were arrested for 2 counts of trespass on property after warning. There is probable cause. I will appoint the public defender to represent you. You're not to return to the scene. Your bond on count 1 is 500. Your bond on count 2 is 100. And I'm not going to take any action on the out on bond case.
All right, thank you so much, Mr.
Thank you, ma'am.
So take this with you and stay in touch with us, okay?
Your Honor, S.C. Ward, she reviewed.
Do you want to reset her for tomorrow? See if she comes tomorrow?
Yes, Your Honor, if we can. I believe she had an offer on her case. Yes, if we can.
Good afternoon. Are you Mr. Bell?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Bell, this is 23 MO 762. You were arrested for urinating in public. There's probable cause. Did you want to resolve your case today, Mr. Bell?
Yes, ma'am.
And Your Honor, there is an offer to resolve with an adjudication of guilt, credit for time served. I did discuss this offer with Mr. Bell, and he wishes to accept it and enter a plea of no contest.
All right, Mr. Bell, did you have a chance to read the plea form, sir, before you signed it there?
No, I didn't.
You did not?
She read it to me outside. She told me what it consists of in the lobby.
I read it to him, Your Honor.
Okay, no problem. Mr. Bell, did you have any questions about any of the constitutional rights you're giving up that are on the form?
Yeah, I was hoping I said, well, if it's left for me to be in prison, I would discharge it. I wouldn't plead that way because I was being preyed on by the officer. I was speaking to a lady in a law firm with TV at, and she was about a special law firm, and she needed me, and I walked away about 20 feet and walked up to the side to where the door at. It was a gutter. I was on one wall. I needed motion. I was leaning on wall.
It sounds.
And so he pulled my arm like that.
So
I wouldn't want to stop being.
All right, so Mr. Bell, let me tell you something. Okay, I hear what you're telling me, and these are your options today. If you think that you have a defense to the case, you're certainly welcome to not resolve your case today and have another court date downtown where you can present that defense.
I would like to resolve. I'm saying, but I don't want to have to sign it as a friend.
You what?
I said I would like to resolve today, but not sign it as a predator. But I'm discharged because he preyed on me for pissing on sign. Some people say when you piss on sign, that goes sign be a predator. I don't know about that. I'm asking you a question. If that's the case, then I wouldn't take it. But otherwise, yeah, I want to piss this today.
You can't go to the bathroom outside.
Yeah, they just sharp on your name. Okay, I'll take it.
Yeah, you're not allowed to do that, okay?
Okay, I'll stop today.
All right. Mr. Bell, are you on probation?
No, ma'am.
You understand if you're not a U.S. citizen that this plea will result in your deportation?
Uh-huh.
Did you hear me?
What, say down?
I said, do you understand if you're not a U.S. citizen that this plea will result in your deportation?
Yeah.
Okay.
U.S. citizen.
All right, Mr. Bell. So I'm going to accept your plea at this time, adjudicate you guilty, sentence you to 2 days in the Orange County Jail with credit for 2 days' time served. You'll have to pay court costs. Those will be due 1 year from today, or you need to see the clerk for a payment plan. Thank you, Mr. Bell.
Okay, thank you.
With everything okay? If you don't.
Aldefino De Leon, he's behaving.
Did you want to waive his appearance?
One moment, Your Honor.
Is there an offer for him?
Oh, there shouldn't be an offer. I believe it's a felony. I just want to confirm.
Oh, it is a felony. I'm sorry. It's over $1,000.
And yes, Your Honor, we can waive his appearance.
All right. So this is 23 CF 7128. He was arrested for criminal mischief. There's probable cause. I'll appoint the public defender. He's not to return to the scene. Bond is $1,000. I'm not going to take any action on the out on bond case.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Fleming. Good afternoon, sir. Mr. Fleming, this is 23 CF 7107. You were arrested for possession of fentanyl and possession of drug paraphernalia. There is probable cause. I'll appoint the public defender to represent you, sir. Mr. Fleming, you are not to possess or consume any controlled substances without a valid prescription. I'm going to release you on your own recognizance at this time, sir. Thank you.
Take this with you. Stay in touch with us, okay? Good luck with everything.
Good afternoon. Are you Mr. Hubner?
Yes.
Sir, this is 23 CF 5721. You were arrested pursuant to a probable cause warrant for grand theft 3rd degree. I will appoint the public defender to represent you. Your bond is $1,000 and you are not to return to the scene.
Excuse me?
Thank you, sir.
Your bond is $1,000 and do not return to the scene. Do you have any questions about that?
No.
Okay, so that sounds like. It sounds possible. I mean, it sounds like potential. Your Honor, he's asking if he can be released to ROR.
I'm sorry, not at this.
I can't come up with bond. I have no one to call. I don't know any numbers. My debit card is lost right now. I have to order a new one. I can't do that when I'm in here. I'm on Social Security, it's the only income I have. I really don't have any family.
Mr. Huebner, where are you staying?
I've recently been renting a house last, like, 4 months.
Where is the house?
In Orlando on Sullivan Drive.
Do you live with anyone?
No.
Are you on disability?
Yes. And I lost my debit card a couple weeks ago, and I didn't get to a phone to order a new one, so I got no way to get out right now. And I need to get home and pay rent.
Can I see his thing again?
Just don't talk about the facts of the case. Everything about bond is fine.
All right, Mr. Huebner, at this time, I will release you on your own recognizance. You do need to contact the public defender's office within 24 hours to make sure that they have good contact information for you, and you must appear at all court dates. All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, are you Mr. Thornton?
How you doing?
Mr. Thornton, this is 23 CF 7117. You were arrested for aggravated battery with a firearm. There's probable cause. I will appoint the public defender to represent you. You're not to return to the scene or have any contact with the victim. You're also not to possess any weapons or firearms. Your bond is $4,000, sir. Thank you.
Take this with you. Stay in touch with us, okay?
Good afternoon. Are you Mr. Cortez Valenti?
Yes, ma'am.
This is 23 MM 3008. This is your arraignment for the offense of petty theft of $100 or more. Was there an offer conveyed to Mr. Cortez Valenti?
Yes, Your Honor, I apologize. I'm just switching over gears.
The offer from the state is a withhold of adjudication, credit time served. There's a cost of investigation of $181, 2 cents to the Orlando Police Department, and he is not to return to the Tommy Hilfiger store located at 5269 International Drive.
Mr. Cortez Valenti, did you want to accept that offer, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you have a chance to read or review the plea form before you signed it? That form, yes.
No, ma'am, but.
All right, sir. Do you understand that by entering into this plea today that you're giving up your right to have a trial by a jury?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and you understand that you will not be able to present any witnesses, evidence, or defenses on your own behalf?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. You also will give up your right to testify on your own behalf?
Yes, ma'am.
And make the state of Florida prove that you're guilty beyond a reasonable doubt?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Are you currently on probation?
No, ma'am.
And do you understand, if you're not a U.S. citizen, that this plea will result in your deportation? Do you understand, if you are not a U.S. citizen, that this plea will result in your deportation?
Non-applicable.
But do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, sir. At this time, I will accept your plea, withhold adjudication, sentence you to 29 days in the Orange County Jail. You've got credit for 29 days time served. You will have to pay court costs, including the cost of investigation, to the Orlando Police Department in the amount of $181.02. Those will all be due 1 year from today, or see the clerk for a payment plan, and you're not to return to the Tommy Hilfiger store.
Yes, ma'am.
I'll take the plea from. Thank you, Ms. Virgil. All right, sir, you're all set. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Cummings? Yes. Mr. Cummings, this is 23 MM 2808. This is your arraignment for the offense of trespass on property other than a structure or a conveyance. Ms. Fritchell, how would you like to proceed?
Yes, Your Honor. He'd like to withdraw any previously entered pleas and enter a plea of no contest. The offer from the state is an adjudication of guilt, credit for time served, no return to the racetrack at 609 Lee Road.
All right. Mr. Cummings, did you sign the plea form, sir?
No.
Mr. Cummings, you understand that by entering in this plea today, you're giving up your right to have a trial by a jury?
Yes.
You understand that you won't be putting on any evidence, witnesses, or defenses?
Yes.
Are you currently on probation?
No.
And do you understand, if you're not a U.S. citizen, that this plea will result in your deportation?
Yes.
All right, so at this time, I will accept your plea, adjudicate you guilty, sentence you to 36 days in the Orange County Jail with credit for 36 days time served. You're not to return to the racetrack. You'll also have to pay court costs due 1 year from today or see the clerk for a payment plan. Thank you, sir.
Good luck with everything, okay?
Good afternoon. Are you Mr. Fields?
Yes, ma'am.
And Your Honor, I apologize. For this one, we'll enter a plea of not guilty.
No problem. So this is
I'm guilty.
Division 61.
Got it more.
It's gonna be June 16th at 8:45 in courtroom 7C.
Sorry, June 16th?
Thank you, Mr. Fields.
Not guilty.
It's okay, talk to your attorney about this more. They'll,
What does that mean?
they'll explain what's going on more. Take this with you, okay?
Mr. Valentine?
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, this is 23MM2002. Your arraignment for the offense of trespass on property other than a structure or a conveyance. Ms. Fritchell, how would he like to proceed?
Your Honor, he'd like to withdraw any previously entered pleas and enter a plea of no contest. In agreement with the state, it is an adjudication of guilt, credit for time served, no return to the racetrack at 609 Lee Road.
All right.
And then you'll have to sign that right there.
Mr. Valentine, did you have a chance to review or read that plea form?
I already know what it says.
You know what it says?
Yeah.
All right, so do you understand that you're giving up your right to have a trial by a jury?
Yes, ma'am.
And you're giving up your right to make the state of Florida prove that you committed this offense beyond a reasonable doubt? You won't be putting on any evidence, witnesses, or defenses. Do you understand?
Okay.
Are you on probation?
No, ma'am.
Do you understand, if you're not a U.S. citizen, that this plea will result in your deportation?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, sir, at this time, I will accept your plea, adjudicate you guilty, order you not to return to the racetrack. You will have to pay court costs. Those will be due 1 year from today, or you need to see the clerk for a payment plan. All right, thanks, sir.
Good luck with everything.
I apologize, Your Honor. I didn't hear the credit time served amount.
54.
Thank you.
Was released ROR.
Okay,
And that's what we were going to ask for anyways, Your Honor, so that works.
okay. Mr. Gavin? All right, sir, good afternoon. This is 23MM3716. You were arrested for battery. There is probable cause. I'm going to appoint the public defender to represent you. You are not to return to the scene or have any contact with the victim. You're also not to possess any weapons or firearms, and I'm going to place you on pretrial release. Thank you, sir.
Take this with you. You have a pretrial release officer.
Sir.
You're going to have a pretrial release officer that you're going to have to report with and stay in touch with, okay? They'll explain that when you're getting processed out. And then this is our number.
Weapons or
Call us
firearms,
when
Your
you're
Honor,
out, so
and
we
no
can stay in
return?
touch with you.
Correct.
Good luck with everything.
Ms. Lane? You are here in 23MM3717 for trespassing on property after warning. There is probable cause. I'm going to appoint the public defender to represent you. Was there an offer for Ms. Lane?
Yes, Your Honor. The offer from the state is an adjudication of guilt, credit for time served, no return to 2715 East Mark Street. And she does wish to accept that offer and enter a plea of no contest at this time.
All right. And Ms. Lane, did you have a chance to read the plea form, ma'am, before you signed it?
Yes, Your
Okay.
Honor.
Did you have any questions about any of the constitutional rights on the form?
Yes, Your Honor.
What are your rights, or what are your questions?
If you had any.
Sorry, I'm confused. I'm fine.
You don't have any questions about what you read?
No, ma'am. No, Your
Okay.
Honor.
Are you currently on probation?
No, Your Honor.
Are you under the influence of any drugs, alcohol, or medication that would affect your ability to understand what's happening in court this morning?
No, Your Honor.
And do you understand, if you are not a U.S. citizen, that this plea will result in your deportation?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. At this time, I will accept your plea, adjudicate you guilty, sentence you to 2 days in the Orange County Jail with credit for 2 days' time served. You're not to return to the scene. You will have to pay court costs. Those will be due 1 year from today, or see the clerk for a payment plan.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Morton.
Yes, ma'am.
Hello, sir. This is 23MM3711. You were arrested for trespass on property after warning. There's probable cause. I'll appoint the public defender. And how would he like to proceed, Mr.
Your Honor, there is an offer from the state of an adjudication of guilt, credit for time served, and no return to the Marriott at 4012 Central Florida Parkway. And it's my understanding that he'd like to accept that plea offer and enter a plea of no contest today.
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Morton, did you read the plea form, sir, before you signed it?
It's what I read back there in this.
Under that one?
That's what you're gonna sign right there. Yep, where it says defendant. And then the judge is gonna ask you some questions and you'll have to respond. And Your Honor, he just signed the plea form, so he has given you his full attention now.
No problem. Sir, did you read that plea form before you signed it?
Not too sure what it said. Not too sure what it said.
Okay, no problem. So do you understand that by entering into this plea today that you are not going to have a trial on your case?
Thank you.
Okay. You understand that you won't be able to present any evidence, any defenses, or put any witnesses on to testify on your behalf?
Well, what does that mean?
It means that you won't be able to contest the charges against you. You're not going to make the state of Florida prove that you committed this offense beyond a reasonable doubt.
Okay.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Not really. If was time considered as served?
Your Honor, I apologize for interrupting. I don't know if there's any way we can release him ROR and let him speak with an attorney in more detail. Speaking with him back there, I thought he understood the plea form, but I
do.
You do understand?
Yes. Yes, I do.
Okay, apologies.
Sorry. So, Mr. Morton, you understand, as I was just explaining to you, that we won't be having a trial on your case. Do you understand that?
Fully understand.
Okay. You understand you cannot go back to the Marriott or the Ritz-Carlton?
Yes, I do.
Okay. If they see you there, they're immediately going to call the police and they're going to have you arrested. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Okay, and the state attorney's probably not going to give you an offer the next time you come in here that's going to allow you to quickly resolve your case. Do you understand that?
Fully.
Okay. So, are you on probation?
Not at all.
And do you understand if you're not a U.S. citizen, this plea will result in your deportation?
Fully.
All right, so at this time, I'll accept your plea, adjudicate you guilty, order that you're not to return to the JW Marriott. You will have to pay court costs. Those will be due 1 year from today, or you'll see the clerk for a payment plan, and I'm sentencing you to 2 days in the county jail.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Served you good. I just want to make sure you understood, just based on your questions.
Thank you.
You too. Have a good one.
Ma'am, good afternoon. Tell me your name, please.
Nicole Ogurek.
Ma'am, this is case number 23MM374. You were arrested for resisting officer without violence. There is probable cause. I will appoint the public defender to represent you.
And Your Honor, she would like to resolve her case. The state has made an offer of an adjudication of guilt, credit for time served, and she'd like to enter a plea of no contest. I did explain the offer and plea form in the back.
All right. Ms. Ogrick, did you understand the plea form here before you signed it?
Yes.
Do you have any questions about any of the constitutional rights you're giving up?
No. No.
Are you on probation?
No.
Do you understand if you're not a U.S. citizen, this plea will result in your deportation?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. This time I will accept your plea, adjudicate you guilty, sentence you to 2 days in the Orange County Jail with credit for 2 days time served. You will have to pay court costs. Those will be due 1 year from today, or you'll need to see the clerk for a payment plan. And I'm not going to take any action on the out on bond case as the defendant has entered a negotiated plea on the new.
And Your Honor, is there any way we can actually get appointed on that out on bond case? I don't believe we were.
I will appoint the public defender in 23 CF 3115.
So you're out on bond. You should have this as an attorney now, so that we can inform the court date so you don't miss anything. So contact us, okay? But this case is resolved. The out on bond is still ongoing, so make sure you don't miss court dates, okay?
Thank you so much.
Good luck. Thank you for telling me.
good afternoon, sir. Your name?
Pablo Pantoja Rivera, ma'am.
All right, sir, and this is 23MM3713. You were arrested for battery and possession of drug paraphernalia. This is
Yes, ma'am.
Pablo. Okay. Sir, you were arrested, as I was stating, for battery and possession of drug paraphernalia. There is probable cause. I will appoint the public defender to represent you. You are not to return to the scene or have any contact with the victim. Bond on count 1 is 500. Bond on count 2 is 100. I'm revoking the bond in 23 CF 2954, and bond will be set at none.
And Your Honor, just for the record, I know there's previous discussions, but defense would be objecting via the new case law, Benoit, and we would just ask that you have the judge's permission to revoke the bond.
It's my understanding that the judges in the circuit have, all of the judges except for, with the exception of one, which is in Division 22, that we do have the authority necessary in order to revoke the bonds. If that turns out to be inaccurate, then certainly you can re-raise the issue, but it's my understanding at this time that the court does have the authority from the assigned division judge, this is Division 14, to revoke the bond.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
So they revoked your out-on bond. They're going to talk to that actual attorney. And Your Honor, if we're not appointed on that out-on bond that was revoked, can we be appointed?
Yes.
Attorney on the case that was revoked.
Your Honor, I think RCC may be appointed on that case, on the out on bond.
Out on bond.
And if that's the case, that's fine. I just want to make sure. And you'll have to talk to your attorney about it, okay? Nothing's, yeah, I just don't want you to mix anything.
Okay, thank you.
Just want to make sure he has an attorney on it.
Okay. Sir, good afternoon. Tell me your name.
Manuel Richelieu.
Mr. Richelieu, this is 23MM3718. You were arrested for trespass on property after warning. There is probable cause. I will appoint the public defender to represent you. And how did he want to proceed?
Your Honor, the state has made an offer of an adjudication of guilt, credit for time served, no return to 7-Eleven at 5284 South OBT. I have discussed this offer in the plea form, and he would like to enter a plea of no contest.
All right. Sir, did you read the plea form before you signed it?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you have any questions about any of the constitutional rights on the form?
No, ma'am.
And are you currently on probation?
No, ma'am.
Do you understand if you're not a U.S. citizen that this plea will result in your deportation?
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, at this time, I'll accept your plea, adjudicate you guilty, sentence you to 2 days in the Orange County Jail with credit for 2 days' time served. You're not to return to the 7-Eleven. You'll have to pay court costs due 1 year from today or see the clerk for a payment plan. Thank you.
Questions about anything? That's it. All right, take this with you. Make sure you get your court costs cleared off so there's no suspension on driver's license and good luck.
Are you Ms. Rodriguez?
Thank you so much. Hello, how are you?
Ma'am, this is 23MM3723. You were arrested for resisting officer without violence. There is probable cause. I'll appoint the public defender to represent you. How would she like to proceed?
Your Honor, she'd like to resolve her case today. The offer from the state is an adjudication of guilt, credit for time served. She'd like to enter a plea of no contest. I did discuss the offer in the plea form with her in the back.
Excellent. All right. Ms. Rodriguez, did you have a chance to read the plea form before you signed it? Do you have any questions about any of the constitutional rights you're giving up?
No, ma'am.
Are you currently on probation?
No, ma'am.
And do you understand if you're not a U.S. citizen that this plea will result in your deportation? All right. At this time, I will accept your plea, adjudicate you guilty, and sentence you to 2 days in the county jail with credit for 2 days' time served. You'll also have to pay court costs due 1 year from today or see the clerk for a payment plan.
Okay.
Thank you.
And Your Honor, I don't know if this is something we're able to do. If we're able to bump her up on the list of processing, she does have work tonight that she is attempting to make it to. I don't know if that's something I can ask the jail staff if they're capable of it.
Okay. I don't have any authority to order them, to move them up.
Thank you, though.
I mean, maybe you could ask them very nicely when you get downstairs. I don't know, but I can't order them to do that.
Good luck, okay?
Thank you so much.
Have a good day.
You think I can get out today? Instead of anything.
Ms. Scaglione, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
How are you today?
I'm okay.
This is 23MM3726. You were arrested for trespassing.
Yes.
There's probable cause. I will appoint the public defender. How would she like to proceed?
Your Honor, in the back, we discussed the offer from the state, which is an adjudication of guilt, credit for 5 days in Orange County Jail, credit for any time served, no return to the 7-Eleven at 3974 South OBT. In the back, she expressed that she wished to take that offer. She has mentioned to me now, seeing if there is any possibility of credit time served.
Yeah, if there's any way that I could get credit time.
And if not, do you want to take the offer we discussed?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Ms. Eugene, was there, I guess what went into the offer given by the state?
Your Honor, this particular defendant was not given a credit time served offer because her last conviction was for trespass and it was 2 weeks ago.
Got it. Okay.
And she also has 39 misdemeanors, Your Honor.
So I have to do 2 days in here?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
All right. So, Ms. Squaglione, you're not going to be able to return to the 7-Eleven. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And did you read this plea form before you signed it?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you have any questions about any of the rights on the form?
No, ma'am.
Are you on probation?
No.
And do you understand if you're not a U.S. citizen that this plea will result in your deportation?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I will accept your plea, adjudicate you guilty, sentence you to 5 days in jail with credit for 2 days' time served. As I stated, no return to the 7-Eleven. You have to pay court costs. Those will be due 1 year from today, or you need to see the clerk for a payment plan.
Okay, thank you. So I got to do 3 days today? Starting today, I
You'll end
get
up
3
doing
days?
2 more.
2 more?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
2 to 3 more. No more than 3 more.
Dontravius Smith, he bonded.
Okay.
Joe Wilson is behavior.
Your Honor, he does have an offer to resolve if we can reset him.
Sure. We'll reset him for tomorrow, please.
Joshua Atkins also bonded.
She has work.
What, Mr. Mills? Good afternoon, Mr. Mills.
See if I can talk to him.
Ma'am?
Hi there, sir. You are here in 23MO763. Can we resolve 23MO725 as well today?
There was not an offer on it, Your Honor, but it's possible.
I didn't make an offer, Your Honor, only because it hasn't been filed on. That's the only reason I didn't make an offer on it. The offer to resolve the pending case is an adjudication in 3 days in Orange County Jail. If you wanted to run them concurrent, the state would have no objection.
Did you hear what just happened? You have that out on the case?
And again, Your Honor, this is not a credit time served offer because the last conviction was May 16th for the same offense. And yeah, and he already had one pending.
Is the city required to file an information?
They do file an
I
information.
know they do, but I don't know if they're required to do it.
That I don't know, Your Honor.
All right, I need to find that out, but I don't have the answer right this second. So I'm not gonna take any action on his out on bond case today, because if they are required and they haven't, I can't have him enter a plea on that. But Mr. Mills,
Yes, ma'am.
first of all, if you wanna find out the answer to that, question, because he's gonna be here, right? The offer was 5 days, correct?
3.
3, so he gets out tomorrow? He's actually gonna get out today, isn't he?
Might get out today, actually.
I think it's tomorrow, but.
Your Honor, it is
Today.
something I can look into, though, for the future.
Because I was gonna say if he was still here and you wanted to bring him back to resolve that case. Otherwise, Mr. Mills, you're gonna have to go back downtown for this other case that you're out on bond for, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Make sure you don't miss that because they'll issue a warrant for your arrest,
Okay.
okay? Mr. Mills, did you have any questions about the plea form that you signed?
No, ma'am.
Are you on probation?
Ma'am.
And you understand if you're not a U.S. citizen, this plea will result in your deportation?
Yes, Yes, ma'am.
All right, I'm going to accept your plea, adjudicate you guilty, sentence you to 3 days in jail. You've got credit for 2 days' time served.
Yes, ma'am.
You'll have to pay court costs due 1 year from today or see the clerk for a payment plan. All right. All right, like I said, just make sure that you appear at that court date so that you don't get arrested.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you, sir.
Good luck with everything. Good luck.
I have Mr. Jones, Clarence Jones.
You don't have Brian Janey?
I don't have that paperwork.
Yeah, she was admin.
Mr. Jones?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, sir, good afternoon. You have several cases this afternoon. 23 CT 3663, you were arrested for driving while license suspended. There is probable cause for that offense. And then you've got 22 CT 5961. You failed to appear for that case. That's a Division 61 case. So on 23 CT 3663, your bond, I'm gonna set your bond at $500. 22 CT 5961. You failed to appear for arraignment. Does that get reset for arraignment? I can't remember. PTC? We don't have to set anything. Okay. All right, and in that case, sir, that's another driving while license suspended case. Your bond is $250. In 22 CT 5960, you failed to appear for operating a motor vehicle without a license. In that case, your bond is $250. 22 CT 4528, you failed to appear for driving while license suspended. In that case, your bond is $500. What division was that, 85?
And is that for the 3 cases or?
No, it's just for 4528. So, Mr. Clarence.
Yes.
I mean, Mr. Jones, sorry. You have a significant amount of work to do. Is that, so that last one we did though, Ann? 4528, it had been set for a status. Who's got Division 85? Judge Allen?
And you said
85? I thought she's 61.
the PTC date was June 19th, correct?
Yeah. So you definitely have a significant amount of work to do on your driver's license. Were you trying to get your license back? Was that what the status was for?
Yes, ma'am. On the first appearance, he gave me more time to get my license back. During that first court case, it was around hurricane season of last year, and that case was supposed to be a weekend after a significant storm, but it was canceled. And during that time, I changed addresses and didn't update it with the court.
Okay. Let me see that order again. Can I? I'm gonna write on it. Okay, here's what I'm gonna do. Because you're gonna need to do a bunch of work before you get to that June court date. And you also have lots of cases with the same thing. So if you wanna try to avoid probably going to jail or losing your license for 5 years, you gotta start working on this license or that's what's gonna happen. Okay, I mean, I'm not saying you don't have any defenses to the cases, but if you want to avoid any of that, and I think the main goal is just really for you to get your driver's license back.
Yes, ma'am.
You're gonna wanna do that. So, what I'm gonna do, so I'm looking at your driving record, and all of your issues are Orange County issues.
Yes, ma'am.
And they're all for failing to appear or failing to pay traffic fines. You've only got one driving while license suspended conviction, that was back in 2011. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to order the clerk to remove any of the cases that you have from collections court and place you on a payment plan. I'm also going to clear any of the D6 suspensions that you have and waive the late fees. when you are released, you plan on posting your bonds?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, when you're released from the jail, you need to go down to room 410, bring your paperwork that you're gonna get when you were released from here. You're gonna go to room 410 at the Orange County Courthouse, and you're gonna tell them that you need to be placed on a payment plan. Once you are placed on that payment plan, based upon what I'm seeing on your driving record, you are going to be able to get a driver's license. As long as you are making those payments, you will have a valid driver's license. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
You are gonna wanna bring all of that paperwork, if not a valid driver's license, to that June 19th court date,
Yes, ma'am.
okay? All right, so I'm gonna write that here. I told you your bonds, so you're all set. Okay.
Good luck.
Maurice Morgan bonded. Bryce Slider also.
Oh, here's Mr. Jones' paperwork. Hold on one second. Mr. Morgan bonded? And Slider?
Yes, ma'am, bonded.
Okay, and then Anderson?
Also bonded.
And is this Mr. Booker? All right, Mr. Booker, good afternoon. This is 23 CF 7119. You were arrested for possession of ammunition by a convicted felon and possession of methamphetamine. There's probable cause, sir. I will appoint the public defender to represent you. Your bond on count 1 is 5,000. Your bond on count 2 is 150. Thank you, sir.
Take this with you. Good luck with it.
Oh, and did we get that email from Janelle about, can you see if she emailed you about the virtual? So we're good. Okay. Excuse me, can I ask you what case you're here for? This particular case? Okay. Sir, good afternoon. Your name?
Brandon
Brandon, what's your last name?
Duchesne.
Mr. Duchesne, this is 23 CF 7135. You were arrested for carrying a concealed firearm, possession of cannabis with intent to sell or deliver, and possession of cannabis greater than 20 grams. There is probable cause for the offenses. I'm going to appoint the public defender to represent you. Your bond on count 1 is $2,500. Your bond on count 2 is $150. Your bond on count 3 is $150. You're not to possess any weapons or firearms, and you are also not to possess any controlled substances without a valid prescription. All right, sir, at this time, I'm not going to take any action on the out on bond case. Thank you.
Just take this with you. And you do still have that out on bond, but it looks like you.
Did you have a question?
The attorney about that, because you want to get this one handled, okay?
You can come in the box.
Is this for this case? Should I hold him, Your Honor?
You can stand here. Is that your mom? Okay. Good afternoon, ma'am. Tell me your name, please.
Kim Duchesne.
Okay. Did you have a question for me?
Yes, I heard you say I'm not gonna do anything, so I didn't know what that meant. If he's gonna be able to get bond?
He is. So I didn't take any action on his driving while license suspended case. Okay. He's gonna need to contact Mr. Outlaw, that's the lawyer who's representing him, as soon as he's released, as soon as he posts his bond.
And we retained an attorney as well.
Okay.
Yes.
So he'll be able to bond out today, or whenever he is able to post the bond.
I appreciate that.
Okay.
Thank you very
You're
much.
welcome, ma'am. Have a good day.
Good luck with it. So this is a total of 10% with the bondsman. Some bondsmen require 100 minimum on the bond. It depends how they do it. You have to talk to them.
Ms. Gardner? Hey, Ms. Gardner? Ms. Gardner, this is 23 CF 7109. You were arrested for criminal mischief and possession of ammunition by a convicted felon. There is probable cause. I'm going to appoint the public defender to represent you. You are not to return to the scene. You're not to possess any weapons or firearms. Your bond on count 1 is going to be $100.
So you don't qualify, that's what.
Your bond on count 2 is $500, ma'am.
Wait, you're doing 100 and 500?
Yeah.
Okay, can I also ask for no contact with the victim and also the intended victim? Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
Okay.
It does not. I'm assuming there's going to be some add-ons.
I think the police explain their determination in the report if you read through it.
All right, so Ms. Gardner, you are not to return to the scene. You're not to have any contact with the victims, and you're not to possess any weapons or firearms. At this time, I'm not going to modify either of the bonds. I'm going to leave bond on count 1 at 500 and bond on count 2 at 5,000. Thank you.
Okay, Your Honor, if I may have just a moment.
Sure.
So. With the same touch.
Are you Mr. Gibson?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, sir, this is 23 CF 7127. You arrested for burglary of an unoccupied dwelling, criminal mischief, and possession of cannabis less than 20 grams. There is probable cause. I am going to appoint the public defender to represent you. You're not to return to the scene
Yes, ma'am.
or have any contact with the victims. Your bond on count 1 is $2,500. Your bond on count 2 is $150. Your bond on count 3 is $100.
And Your Honor, I know it may not be listed there, but do you have the victim's name listed in front of you? Let me double check.
He's not to return to the Hamilton Park Apartments. That's the victim. It's the property. He was allegedly in the laundry area of the apartment complex.
Property.
And there's a reported person who's a resident, it seems like, they're listing as the victim. But I don't have a name.
The property. It's probably the victim. So. Okay, take this with you. Your bond is $2,500, $150, and $100. Yeah, it should be. It depends with the bondsman. Usually they do a. Okay, that's what the bondsman said. Good luck.
Ma'am, good afternoon. Your name?
Jennifer Griffin.
Ms. Griffin, this is 23 CF 7125 and 23 CF 7122. You were arrested for grand theft, third degree, as well as possession of an anti-shoplifting device. There is probable cause. I'm going to appoint the public defender to represent you. Your bond on count 1 is 1,000, and your bond in 7125 will be 1,000, and your bond in 7122 will be 100. Thank you, ma'am.
Your Honor, I would also ask for a no return and no contact with the co-defendant.
Yes, Ms. Griffin, you're not to return to the scene or have contact with the co-defendant.
Your Honor, after speaking with Ms. Griffin, it seems as though that she will have to post the entirety of the bond and not use a bondsman due to being out of state. Additionally, her husband is diabetic and she's caring for him, and I believe that he may be going through procedures involving amputation at this time, if I understood correctly. For that reason, due to the medical hardship and the fact that they won't be able to use a bondsman for this, which would be no more than 200 with a bondsman, we would just be asking if Your Honor would be willing to reduce the bond in any way.
Ms. Griffin, could you raise your right hand, please?
Yes, ma'am.
I swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Griffin, where do you live?
In Eufaula, Alabama.
How far is that from Orlando?
It's about 8 hours.
That's an 8-hour drive.
Yes, ma'am.
And what is your husband's name?
Aubrey Barron, and he's in Flowers Hospital in Dothan, Alabama. He's currently in the hospital. He was due to have the amputation this morning. He's already had partial of 1 foot removed, and he had a portion of his left foot now removed, just the toe. But they're going to have to take either part of or the entire foot.
When are you planning on returning to Alabama?
I was scheduled to check out today. My mother actually came down to try to settle all the bond stuff, but she wasn't able to get the entire amount of the money. So we were planning to go back today.
Can I place Ms. Griffin on PTR?
She has a outstanding warrant from Georgia, so that's why she didn't, because it looks like her history is all out of state. And then also, I think there is another warrant, a municipal warrant for driving while license withdrawn.
See that.
Another warrant. There's a few warrants.
Fully accurate, but I believe those warrants are for traffic tickets, which would make sense. They're civil, as nothing seems to be holding her at this time. As in the jail's
Ms. Griffin,
not.
are you employed?
No, ma'am, I'm not. I did contract work for Boeing and Lockheed Martin, but after COVID, I haven't had much work. So I do have a 7-year-old son that I care for.
Where's he?
He's been with my mom during this.
And what is the amount of the bond that you're able to afford?
I believe my mother was able to get $1,000 together. She has $1,000.
Usually it's 1,000. I just don't want it to get set too high.
All right, I'm gonna set bond in 7125 at 20, at 250, and bond on 7122 will be at $250.
Thank you,
Total of
ma'am.
$500. Again, you're not to return to the scene, have any contact with the co-defendant. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am, I do. I thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Good luck. Stay in touch with our office when you bond out. That way you don't miss any court dates, especially if you're going to be up in Alabama. Oh, and Your Honor, permission for her to return back to Alabama pending the
Yes, ma'am.
case.
You do have to come back to Florida for court, otherwise they will issue a warrant for your arrest and they will
Yes,
get
ma'am,
you in
absolutely. Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
We have hands to wait for the transport and
Good
all.
luck. Good afternoon, ma'am. Your name?
Hello,
Hello, tell me your name.
Shay Grouper.
Ms. Grouper, you are here in 23 CF 7114. You were arrested for battery on a law enforcement officer and for trespass on property after warning.
Yes, but
And you don't have to.
There's probable cause. I'm going to appoint the public defender to represent you. You're not to return to the scene. Your bond on count 1 is $2,500. Your bond on count 2 is $100. And I am revoking the release in 23 CF 401. Bond will be set at none.
Your Honor, defense would be objecting per the new case law previously stated, Benowit, and just request that you have permission from the judge. Additionally, Your Honor, we would just request that the court take notice that take notice of her lack of criminal history. The 2023 CF 000401 AO case was actually in pretrial diversion, and state, please let me know if I'm incorrect with that. And we would ask, Your Honor, not to revoke the bond, as it does appear to be in pretrial diversion at this time. She does have limited history. And for those reasons, we would ask, if anything, if Your Honor is inclined to revoke the bond, to revoke and double and not set at none.
Actually, I do see that it is in pretrial diversion. So I believe the bond may have already been discharged.
It may have been
anyway.
discharged as well, yes.
So I'm not going to take any action on that case at this time.
No action. Thank you, Your Honor. Okay. So you have the bonds on this case. You have that.
I'm dealing with both of them. So they added both of these? What do you mean?
Good afternoon, sir. Tell me your name, please. Your name.
Sean Jenkins, ma'am.
Mr. Jenkins, this is 23 CF 7130. You were arrested for possession of cocaine. There is probable cause. I will appoint the public defender to represent you. At this time, sir, your bond is $1,000. Thank you.
Take this with you. Good luck with everything. Okay?
Good afternoon. Are you Mr. King?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. King, this is 23 CF 7120. You were arrested for possession of cannabis greater than 20 grams. There's probable cause. I'm going to appoint the public defender to represent you. Your bond, sir, is $1,000. I am revoking the bond in 23 CF 5516, and that bond is going to be set at none.
Your Honor, defense understands the court's position. However, no information has been filed yet in that case, I believe. For that reason, we would be asking if Your Honor would take no action, and if Your Honor is so inclined to revoke and double. Additionally, if we can make sure the public defender has been appointed on that case, and also we would be objecting via the new case law, Benowet, and just request that you have permission from the judge on the case.
All right, so he was just arrested May 6th and bonded out on May 7th, so it hasn't been 30 days since the arrest, so I'm not gonna not take any action based upon the fact that an information has not been filed. Also, I've already stated, and I understand your objection regarding the new case law, but it's my understanding that I do have the authority to do that. So again, at this time, bond will remain at none.
Thank you, Your Honor. So she revoked your auto bond. Take this with you. You'll have to talk to that. And the PD is appointed on the auto bond as well?
Yes.
Thank you, Your Honor. You can't bond out. She set your bond at none on that out-on bond. So I made sure that we got appointed, so you can talk, if we weren't already appointed, so you can talk to an attorney about that and try to get your bond back, okay?
What does that mean?
It means that you're being held no bond on this case, the aggravated assault with a firearm that you picked up at the beginning of the month. I know I
Have a good day,
tried to
sir.
argue against it. Good luck.
Are you Mr. Layson Bazario?
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
This is 23 CF 7095, sir. You were arrested for possession of a firearm by a violent career criminal, possession of firearm or ammunition by a convicted felon, and possession of cannabis less than 20 grams. There's probable cause. I'm going to appoint the public defender to represent you. Bond on count one.
I want to make sure I don't miss this.
Excuse me?
I apologize, sorry. A lot of,
That's okay.
yeah.
All right.
1 second.
Are we good? Good. Okay, all right. Sir, your bond on count one is going to be $5,000. Bond on count two is $150. Bond on count three is $100. You're not to possess any weapons or firearms. You also have an out-of-county on-view violation of probation based upon this new law offense for which the court does find probable cause, and bond in that matter will be set at none. I'll appoint the public defender to represent you in both of the cases.
You're gonna have to talk to your, okay, but there's a statute.
Sir, good afternoon. Tell me your name, please.
Ace.
Excuse me?
Larkins, I'm sorry.
What is your name?
Full name is Jace Larkins.
All right.
Yes.
Do you go by Christopher Larkins?
I do not. Jace is my actual name.
What is your birthday?
My birthday is actually 6/10/1994.
Okay, thank you, sir. This is 23 CF 7147. You were arrested for 2 counts of burglary of an occupied dwelling with an assault or battery therein, obstructing justice to hinder communication to law enforcement, and false imprisonment. Ms. Fritchall, did you have something that you wanted to say?
Your Honor, defense would just object to lack of probable cause for the burglary portion. It was a business that was open to the public at the time. We understand that arguably the state will argue that
Fritchall, I think you are on the wrong case.
Am I on the wrong one? Oh, I may have.
This is Mr. Larkins. This is a burglary involving a home.
I apologize, Your Honor. I am on the wrong one.
All right. Did you have any probable cause challenge with respect?
No, Your Honor. We would just reserve our right to an Arthur hearing.
Okay. So the court does find probable cause as to each of the offenses. At this time, bond will remain at none as to counts 1 and 2. Mr. Larkins, your lawyer will need to file a bond motion in Division 12. Bond on count 1 is 1,000, bond on count 2 is 150. On count 4. So bond on count 3 is 1,000, bond on count 4 is 150. 1 and 2 is 0. Thanks, Ann.
This is, just so you know, this is a very serious offense, so you want to watch what you're saying. Anything you say is being.
Mr. Larkins is not to return to the scene, have any contact with the victims, or possess any weapons or firearms. Thank you, sir.
Your Honor,
Yeah.
I believe they're neighbors, so does that change anything?
Sorry, did I miss something?
Well, no, I mean, it's just no contact. It's not the same as the domestic violence, no contact order that they sign, I don't think.
Ma'am.
They're
Let me
referencing-
read, I need to look at the statute for a second.
They're not talking about your case. They're
Okay.
referencing something. What'd you request? I apologize. Well, they are talking about it.
I didn't request anything. I made note that they are neighbors, and as there is a no contact, there may be the boundary of 500 feet.
Thank you. Thank you. So, hold
What do
on.
you mean by?
Hold on 1 second. Sorry, I just need for me to listen to what's happening.
That would cover.
Conflict. It's that if you're not allowed to, but you live. Miranda, warning the Miranda rights. Yeah, so, this part's fine, it's just legals.
All right, so, sir, the statute 903.047 indicates that you are not to be within 500 feet of the alleged victims. While I understand that you are neighbors, I will allow you to return to your home, but you are not to have any contact whatsoever. So if they're in the backyard, you can't go in the backyard. You can be in your home. I recognize that they may be in your home, and is it an apartment or is it duplex?
It's an apartment.
It's an apartment, okay. So I recognize that because you're in your apartments, you may be within 500 feet of one another, and that is okay. But if you see them coming toward the apartment, you need to go the other way until they're inside the apartment. You may not be near them within 500 feet unless you're inside of your apartment. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I think I said everything else. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Jean.
So you're gonna have to talk to your attorney because of the nature of the charge, like I talked about back there, punishable by life. You're at no bond right now. So contact your attorney. You'll get one in the next day or two, and they'll be able to do a bond motion for you downtown. Okay?
Okay, so downtown.
The case itself, the case goes downtown. We're not gonna be able to do the bond motion today. Okay? It's an Arthur hearing. Your attorney will explain it in more detail. And Your Honor, we can waive his appearance.
This is 23 CF 7129. He was arrested for possession of MDMA and trespass on property after warning. There's probable cause. I'm going to appoint the public defender to represent him. Bond on count 1 is 1,000. Bond on count 2 is 100. He's not to return to the 7-Eleven, and I am going to revoke his release on the out on bond cases. Bond will be set at none. Mr. Miller? Right, Mr. Miller?
Ma'am.
Sir, this is 22 CF 12123. You failed to appear for pretrial conference on May 24th. At this time, sir, your bond is set at none. Your lawyer will need to file a bond motion in Division 16.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
So, talk to your attorney about what that means, okay?
Right.
Good luck. I'm gonna go that way.
Tatiana Nixon, reviewed.
All right, I will find a waiver of her appearance based upon her refusal in 23 CF 7131. She was arrested for possession of cocaine. There's probable cause. I'll appoint the public defender. Her bond is $1,000. Good afternoon, sir. Your name?
Luis Ortiz.
Sir, this is 22 CF 12040. You failed to appear for court on February 22nd of this year. Your bond on count 1 is $500. Your bond on count 2 is $1,500. Thank you, sir.
There's conflict counsel on this one. It could be wrong.
Okay. I'll need to get in touch with them.
I believe your attorney is David.
Angelica Rivera.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Rodriguez Charina?
Yes, ma'am. Samuel Rodriguez Serrano.
Sir, this is 23 CF 7133. You were arrested for possession of a controlled substance without a prescription and possession of drug paraphernalia. There's probable cause. I'll appoint the public defender to represent you. Your bond is $1,000 on count 1 and $100 on count 2, and I'm not going to take any action on your out on bond case.
Thank you, ma'am.
sir.
Yep, she didn't revoke it. You're still there.
Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome. Good afternoon, sir. Your name?
Joseph Roman.
Mr. Roman, this is 23 CF 7106. You were arrested for possession of fentanyl and possession of drug paraphernalia. There is probable cause. I'll appoint the public defender to represent you. Your bond on count 1 is $1,000. Your bond on count 2 is $100. And I am not going to take any action on your out on bond cases, sir.
Thank you so much. Does that mean I could bond out?
It does.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
God bless. God bless.
All right, I'll find a waiver of his appearance based upon his refusal to come to court. 23 CF 6496. He was arrested pursuant to a probable cause warrant. His bond on count 1 is $5,000. His bond on count 2 is $150, and he is not to return to the scene.
And appoint the public defender, Your Honor.
And I'll appoint the public defender to represent him. Are you Mr. Thomas?
How are you? Good, good.
All right, Mr. Thomas, this is 23 CF 7113. You were arrested for grand theft of a motor vehicle and resisting officer without violence.
No.
There is probable cause. I'll appoint the public defender to represent you. Your bond on count 1 is $2,500. Your bond on count 2 is $100. And I'm revoking the bond in 23 CF 5092. That bond is going to be set at none.
Yeah?
Thank you, sir.
You revoked your out on bond.
I'm not on the bond. I took care of that.
That case is over?
Yes. Yes, it took care.
Let me take a look at it before. Let me check.
Complete time, sir.
Is this it? Okay.
Just don't want you to say anything that
It has not been resolved. Thank you.
it might have been one that you got released on a 33-day
Yeah,
motion.
I was not on bond for the possession and the drugs.
He's yeah.
Time served.
I don't think that's
No.
what happened.
Hmm? I just went to court on the 23rd.
Hold on, I'll check our notes. Are you sure it wasn't a different case?
23rd.
This one shows that nothing has happened. And then I'll check in our system. I don't think so.
I should have had a warrant for my.
Ms. Fritchell, the case is pending.
Okay. It's pending. They say it's still pending. Speak with your attorney.
Broke my bond.
I did.
It's been revoked. It's set at none. Talk to your attorney about that. I'll send them.
Thank you, sir. We're all finished with the
I'll
hearing.
send them an email, okay?
Good afternoon, ma'am. Your name?
Elizabeth Bout.
Ms. Vout, this is 22 CF 10713. You were arrested for failing to appear at your case management conference on May 5th. At this time, your bond is set at none. Your lawyer will have to file a bond motion in Division 14.
What does that mean?
You have conflict counsel. You'll have to speak to your attorney. You're being held no bond right now because you missed a court date.
It went to the wrong address.
And you can talk to your attorney about any defenses and things like that. But good luck, okay?
Okay.
Good afternoon. Are you Mr. Wooden?
Yes.
Mr. Wooden, this is 23 CF 7124, sir. You were arrested for possession of MDMA greater than 10 grams, trafficking in MDMA greater than 10 grams, less than 200, and resisting officer without violence. There is probable cause. I will appoint the public defender to represent you. Your bond on count 1 is going to be $150. Your bond on count 2 is $50,000. Your bond on count 3 is $100.
Your Honor, I believe there should be one more bond for that fleeing and eluding. Oh, that might be the next case. I apologize.
23 CF 7123, sir, you were arrested for fleeing and eluding. There is probable cause. I'm going to appoint the public defender to represent you on that case as well, and your bond will be $150.
What's the bond total? I have to pay?
A little over 50,000.
Is it over $50,000?
That's correct. Thank you, sir.
Take this with you.
You, Mr. Woodson?
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, this is 23 CF 7134. You were arrested for burglary of a structure with an assault or battery and petty theft.
And, Your Honor, defense would just argue lack of probable cause for the burglary. It was a business that was open to the public. We understand that there may be an argument that he may have passed over the portion that was open to the public. However, based on the police report, it's unclear to know the exact setup or to determine that. And for those reasons, we would argue that there's not enough for that burglary portion.
Your Honor, it does state Mr. Woodson went behind the counter. Based on that, if there's a counter in a store, it is usually only for employees, and therefore he would not have had license to go back there, Your Honor.
So I do find that there is probable cause based upon the facts contained in the probable cause affidavit.
Your Honor?
Yes?
Thank you for finding the probable cause. Based on the allegations in this affidavit and also his history, the state would have no objection to the court using its discretion to set bond.
Thank you, Ms. Eugene. Mr. Wooden, could you raise your right hand, please? Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
All right. Mr. Wooden, are you employed?
Yes, ma'am.
Where do you work?
UPS and security officer.
All right. And do how much money do you make per week or per pay period?
I'm only a part-time supervisor, and security is basically a flex schedule. I pick shifts that's only available when I'm available to work. So basically only like $500 a week from UPS is my main job.
Okay. $500 a week?
Yes, ma'am. I get paid weekly there.
Okay. Anyone else being able, or is anyone else helping you set your bond?
No, ma'am.
Or, I'm sorry, pay your bond?
No, ma'am.
No. Do you own or rent your home?
I rent.
How long have you lived in Central Florida?
About 10 years now.
All right. Where are you from?
Live Oak, Florida.
You're from Florida?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Your family here in Orlando or in Live Oak?
Majority of it is in Live Oak, but I have one relative out here.
Mr. Woodson, what type of bond are you able to afford? Amount?
Whatever I have to pay, I guess. A number?
She wants you to give her a number that you can reasonably manage.
Tough. I could do 150, 200, because I'm in the process of moving. That's why it's all.
All right, I'm gonna set bond on count 1 at 2,500, and I'm gonna set bond count 2 at 100. You're not to return to the scene. You're not to have any contact with any of the victims. You're not to possess any weapons or firearms. You understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Thanks, sir. Mr. Zimmerman? Mr. Zimmerman, this is 23 CF 7126. You were arrested for grand theft, 3rd degree, and possessing an anti-shoplifting device in 23 CF 7121. At this time, the court does find probable cause. I will appoint the public defender to represent you.
Yes, ma'am.
You're not to have any contact with the co-defendant, and you're not to return to the scene. I'm gonna set your bond on 7126 at $250 and on 7121 at $250, and you are allowed to return to the state of Alabama. You will need to return to Florida if the state of Florida files formal charges against you. Otherwise, a warrant will be issued for your arrest.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you, sir. And then court will be in recess.